이번에는 저희가 아주 특별한 손님을 한번 모셔보려고 합니다. 이번 미국 대선 결과가 중요한 이유 중 하나는요, 우리나라의 안보에 미치게 될 영향도 그만큼 상당하기 때문이겠죠. 그래서 미국의 중앙정보국이죠. CIA의 한국 담당 부국장을 지낸 전문가를 한번 현지 연결해서 이번 대선이 한반도 안보에 어떻게 영향을 미칠지 한번 물어보겠습니다. Mr. Klinger, thank you for being with us today. The US policy towards North Korea will be very different depending on who becomes the next president. If Trump is finally elected, what kind of change do you expect when it comes to North Korea policy?
A second Trump administration would be much harder to predict what its policies will be overall and also towards the alliances in North Korea than a Harris administration would be. Now, on North Korea, we don't know whether Trump would want to re-engage with Kim Jong-un. He has highlighted his friendship with Kim. Um, but I think like any US president, he'd want to focus more on domestic issues and on economic issues. And when foreign policy issues came up, it'd be more likely prioritization on Russia, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, and the Middle East. And similarly, Kim Jong Un may feel like he's not interested in re-engaging with a second Trump administration. He tried, he failed to get the benefits that he was seeking, and also he's getting a lot of benefits right now from Russia in return for troops and large amounts of ammunition that Pyongyang is sending to Russia for its invasion of Ukraine.
What if Harris is elected? She said she would not be close with any dictators like Kim Jong-un.
There'd be a lot of continuity, not only with the Biden administration, but really with decades of bipartisan US policy towards North Korea. The idea that we are very open to dialogue and actually have been calling for any kind of dialogue, let alone negotiations with North Korea for the last 5 years, which Pyongyang has rejected all attempts at dialogue. And so because of that, the Biden administration and presumably the Harris administration would focus on deterrence and defense, maintaining and strengthening the relations and the alliances with South Korea and Japan, and also continue to encourage the rapprochement between Seoul and Tokyo that we've seen, particularly at the initiative of President Yoon.
Mr. Klinger, if there's something that does not change regardless of who is elected when it comes to the security of the Korean Peninsula, what is that? What do we have to prepare?
Well, I think regardless of which candidate wins, there's going to be a great focus not only on the North Korean threat, but on the rising China threat, which is throughout the Indo-Pacific. So Taiwan certainly has come to mind in the last several years, but also the East China Sea and the South China Sea. So the U.S., as it has been for quite some time, will be looking for our allies in Europe and in the Indo-Pacific to do more to step up to the plate. President Yoon has pledged to do so with his global pivotal state and the 2022 Indo-Pacific strategy of the Yoon administration, which was South Korea's first ever strategy for the Indo-Pacific. And I think under President Yoon, South Korea has done more, but has tended to do it in a very quiet manner so as not to risk a Chinese response. But I think particularly under the Trump administration, there would be a greater push to do more off peninsula, perhaps more blatantly anti-China engage, operations militarily, exercises,